Hello, and welcome to Live International live streaming. It's a privilege to be alive, and I count each day as a blessing from God. I hope you do the same. I think with this new transformation of the impact of the COVID 19, everything around us ought to be redefined. Things are not the same. And I realize more and more that we have to not only reinvent ourselves, but find the purpose and the meaning of life. What we are going to do or what next. Today, I have right here my precious son. I'm proud of him. That is Pastor Edward Kirkpatrick, all the way from Greensboro, the pastor of a thriving, amazing church, Abundant Life Church International. He spends most Wednesdays with me, or anytime that my schedule permits, he comes around and we just sit around and talk. And it's amazing when two men begin to chat, father and son, and the son actually glean and he takes to heart every wisdom or every counsel that he gets from me. I love his presence and I enjoy hearing from him because he has a deep, deep appreciation for God and God's people. And also, he asks very profound questions. And the questions cause me to think. So today, he and I are doing what we have decided to be doing going forward. Whenever we have the chance to come to you, we will do so with positive, life-changing questions, or at least get you involved in our conversations. He's asking me things that people wish they could ask me in person. So he's speaking for you, and I'll ask him the same questions that people would like to know. So this is a chit-chat, and I'm very pleased to be able to do this in an atmosphere where it's so relaxed, no pressure, and we're just having fun doing this. So we hope you enjoy it and also learn from it, and above all, grow from it, just as we're doing here. So, Pastor Edward Kirkpatrick, it's always a joy to be with you and also to have you here. And I think in the few years that we have known each other, you have actually been a great son. I'm very proud of you. I'm proud of what you are doing as a husband, father, pastor, and also a businessman, one who loves his people. So let's just chit chat like we normally do. Relax, no pressure. Let's make it as natural as we've always done, as if nothing is watching us,
Yes,
just
sir.
you and I.
Well, Dad,
So let's
first of
talk.
all, thank you for allowing me to come, and it's an honor. You know, the Bible says, he who walks with wise men shall be wise. So today I am wise because of my interaction and my relationship with you, and I appreciate you for who you are and the wisdom that you pour into me, and not just me, but all of your spiritual sons and daughters abroad. It's an honor to have this opportunity to be up close and personal with a man such as yourself, to share your wisdom, your insight, and your experience of life. With that being said, let's jump into some things that I'm pretty sure a lot of people are thinking about in this day and hour. And one of the words that comes to mind is the word purpose. I know that you've probably heard a lot about this, but a lot of people want to know, how do I find my purpose in such changing times when things are changing and life as we have known it in the past has changed. And there are people grappling with who they are and yet who they need to become. So my question to you is, for that person transitioning during this time, trying to find themselves, because people have lost themselves. People are no longer feel a sense of value because the things that they held on to that represented value in their life is no longer there. So how do you talk to that person who's struggling, who's dealing with an identity crisis, trying to find themselves and locate their purpose in times like this?
Well, you've asked a very critical question, but it's a long one, and I'll try to answer them piece by piece. Now, if I don't give the right answer or I don't satisfy some of the questions you've asked, repeat it in another way,
Yes,
and
sir.
I'll come in. One thing is life in general. There are three things I've learned about life. One is time, two is wealth or money, and the other one is health. These three things are very important to everyone: time, health, wealth, or money and health.
Yes.
When you are a child, you have so much time. You play, you do the things you have to do. When you grow, you become concerned about how to use your time to make money or to create wealth. And we'll get to a point, how do I use my time, which I've made money, to take care of my health? Wow. So there are three things, which I'll break them down as we go along. One of the things also that I've learned in life is that everyone wants to know the reason of the existence. Why am I here? What am I supposed to do? What is my mission? But you can only answer these things when you first answer this question. What are the things that I like to do? Or what are the things that I would love to do? If you find your purpose, you have found your mission. Wow. A person without purpose never gets satisfied in their mission. And anything they do it with temporality in mind. But if you find your purpose, you find your assignment. If you find your assignment, you find passion. Wow. And when you find passion, you use your passion to support what you have identified as you, which is your purpose. Yes. And you drive it to the max. I do think that when we talk about purpose also, we're talking about identifying that which makes us excited or that which makes us feel like breathing. What will you do with your life when you get up in the morning and have nothing to do? That is a person who doesn't know the purpose. But when a person says, I go to bed and I wake up because I know there's something I have to do, and that which I have to do compels me to wake up, yes, that means you find your purpose. Yes, sir. You know, when people lose their purpose, for example, when a person gets depressed and they lose their purpose, guess what? They don't know why they live and what they live for. They can stay in one place, but instead of coming up with excitement, they're going down, they deflate. Wow. Their excitement deflates and their joy seems to go away. We have to find our purpose. And when you get to a point, you have to make sure that you grow your purpose. Purpose is such that if you have it and you know how to enjoy your purpose, you grow your purpose. But when you get stale in your purpose, when change comes and you are not prepared, then you have to find out your purpose again. But you have to reinvent yourself. In other words, rebrand yourself or grow within your purpose. What has happened since February or the announcement of COVID-19 in the United States and other parts of the world? It brought everything that we know as normal to halt. Yes. Governments, families, churches, institutions, everything came to halt. And to the extent where everything we know around us is affected. It means then that we are faced with a situation where each one of us have to find a reason to exist and a reason of being. So if you have to go to bed in the night, what have to wake you up? It is not the breaking of dawn or your alarm clock. Yes. It's the purpose that you have which will make the alarm clock sound, give you meaning. Wow. But if you don't have purpose, I don't care what time of day, you still not be a happy person. Yes. You go to bed, get up and lay there and still be wallowing in sadness. Yes. But the moment you find something that you love to do or something that if you don't get paid, you still do, yes, that gives you the excitement. And that's what you want to do, like to do, and engage in. Finding purpose in this time, in the midst of this challenge, is to find ways to reinvent ourselves. Now, for example, or for one, I don't think old. And I don't just think present. Yes. I think also in the future. Because I don't know the future, everything I do in hope. Yes, sir. That whatever I'm planning for tomorrow, hopefully when tomorrow comes, what I planned will be relevant in it. But if you only exist or lived in the past or just the present and things change, then you have to actually find ways and means to move forward. If not, you'll be stuck. I'll give you case in point. You're driving a car. I mean, you are driving a great driver, and you've been driving for many years. You know the particular route that you take. You know it back and forth. You know how long, how many miles. I mean, and you know the speed limit, and you know where the troopers hide to clock people. You know all of that.
Yes.
Because you have in your car a sensor that tells you when the police is somewhere hiding.
Yes.
You know all of this. But you know, there comes a time that whilst you're driving, the things you have put in your car, you've mounted in your car, to alert you when police is around, to tell you where the deers are, the deer crossing and all of that, may not be the things that will interrupt your life. But a driver who you don't expect will come across. And when he comes across, you don't keep driving the way you drive. You may have to turn the steering wheel somewhere else. Turn it in a way you've not turned before, so that what may be a calamity or an accident can be avoided.
Yes.
We should manage our lives as if any danger can come anytime. No matter how careful you are, you must have alternative plan, and also plan and put your mind in this space. Okay, what about if anything happens or something happens to my business? What will I do? What happens if I'm unable to continue with my school? What happens if I'm unable to pay my mortgage or my car note? What happens if things change for me? You have to actually play that or put yourself and create an advocate who will help you to come up with a second plan should something happen in your life. Now, that's the way I at least think, and that's what I do with myself.
Yes.
I always say to myself, okay, what I'm doing today, I've done it for 5, 10 years.
Yes.
What happens if things no longer go the way I expect it to go? Will I be able to steer my life, steer the vision halfway, still be on the same highway, and avoid the traffic? Because once there's an accident, doesn't mean you never drive again. Once there's a challenge, doesn't mean you don't have to get up to fight another day.
Yes.
We are faced with this every day. So in this change, COVID-19, and in this spread, when things are uncertain, we have to make sure that at least at the back of our minds, we are no longer planning for the moment, but we're planning for the moment and the future.
Yes.
So we have to start asking ourselves, okay, what vision, what purpose am I going to hold on to? That should anything or something of such happens, I'll be able to manage and not be left desolate.
So you're talking about being proactive versus being reactive.
You have to be proactive.
So being proactive.
Yeah, and also you should know that, there are places that were devastated, by a hurricane, floods,
Yes.
and buildings went under. And anytime there's calamity, it creates it's cause and effect. It creates so much debt. If you don't have insurance, then everything you have is lost. But if you have insurance, then you should be certain that you'll be assured in case of trouble. But you don't wish that trouble comes. But what happens is, places that were devastated, even if the place is known to be a place that is problematic, is a zone for floods, it doesn't mean people will not be tempted to come back to the same spot. You build in the same place, but this time you put different things within your building codes, so that should another flood like what came, your building will still stand. All these things are like shock absorbers. We have to be able to make sure we create something that will be robust, that should something come like this, will still survive. We are being trained by circumstances to maintain our vision, but make sure that our vision can endure the test of time.
That's good.
Things will happen. Things will change our ideas to begin with. Our concepts can be challenged. But what do you do next? If all of your life is wrapped up in one thing and you don't make provision to grow what you have, or provision to better what you have, or fix what you have, if anything comes to shock and surprise the system, then you are done.
That's good.
So we should always be proactive.
Yes, sir.
And always start thinking forward. Now, what is my purpose? The first place is this. What is that you love to do? If you're a doctor and your purpose is to be medicine, this crisis hits. Does it mean you quit medicine? Of course not. You will find better ways to discharge your duty as a doctor. You find ways to actually operate within systems that are different than yours. We were not concerned about using face masks.
Yes.
Doctors were not concerned about putting on layers of insulation from germs. Doctors were very close with their patients, and anytime they visit them, they touch their hands and feel them and discuss with them. But in this case, you keep a distance.
Yes.
And you do things a little different. But if it's part of your passion, you still practice your passion, but you make sure you make adjustments to it.
That's good. That's good.
Another point is, if you're an athlete and your whole life is built on athleticism, and you are hoping to be traded for another team, because there's a hefty contract that is just awaiting you. And this thing comes, it doesn't mean you quit your sports. You would hold on and make sure you still, in the meantime, do your practice and exercises, because you see, I mean, this thing will pass. Definitely it will.
Yes.
And you don't know when or how. So you should ever be ready. And should you be called, not that you're now out there and you're rusty. I mean, you have to always be ever ready.
Yes.
And make sure that what is your passion in the beginning, you maintain. But if things come to as a wrench in it, or something comes to challenge it and hits it, you find another way around it.
Yes.
But still stay the course.
That's good. That's good. You talked about three things in your opening statement. You talked about time, the component of time. You talked about building wealth or money, and then you talked about health. I want to address the time factor.
Yeah.
A person like yourself with so many different demands on your life. I mean, you're pulled in every direction. You know, you're dealing with global issues, kingdom matters, matters of the church. Then you have your family. So time, let's talk about how do you manage your time? How do you distinguish between what is important and what is urgent? You know, so many people today are wrestling with time. You know, they're spending time on things that are not that important. They're urgent, but they're not important. How do we distinguish between what's important and just what's urgent? You know, because a lot of times stuff that's urgent take our attention away from the things that's most important. So how does a man of your caliber focus your time so that you can get the most out of life in terms of your purpose? Because you've got to dedicate your time to your purpose, correct? If you're going to be successful.
That's correct.
Yes.
For me, time is value, and value is time. Whatever I do that I consider that it demands time, I place value. And whatever is of value, I pursue. But what is of no value, I don't pursue. Or secondary value, I don't pursue.
That's good.
So I prioritize things. And I work from the basis of good, better, and best. It starts with good, better, and best. And I have this saying, this is my quote. You can use it, by the way.
Yes, sir.
And my quote is, if best is available, better is not good enough.
Wow.
If best is available, better is not good enough.
Yes, sir.
Also remember that in life, when you find something you like, you always find time, you always make time for it.
Yes.
Whatever you put importance on, or whatever you consider to be important to you, you make time for it. So the thing is, anything that we do, most of it we consider them to be good. That's why we do them. But the question is this, are they better or is it the best?
That's good.
So your value determines how you use your time. Now, it is true, I am pulled in different directions. But the amazing thing is I have time for all of them.
That's good.
I have time and I know how to distribute time. I know how to make time. And you see, time, even though it is quality, it still has elements of quantity. Some people have so many hours, they don't know what to do with. And some people have some few minutes. But what they do can have the maximum impact of hours.
Wow.
It depends on how you do it and also what you get out of it or what to put into it and the kind of results you expect to achieve.
Yes.
So I don't waste time. I don't lose time. I don't gamble with time. I don't play with time. I value time.
That's good.
So whoever you give your time to, you have to make sure that the person values your time and that they don't waste your time.
Yes.
And remember, there are many things that is competing for our time. Not your attention only, but your time. And if anything gets your attention and you give it much thought and it draws you in, definitely it's going to place a demand on your time. So how do you spend your time? How do you give your time? How do you trade with your time? How do you price your time? So you have to make sure that whoever comes into your space, it's not just invitation to your space, but it's someone that you are inviting to at least either add to your time, subtract from your time, interrupt your time, or literally confuse your time. So if you place things in perspective, then you know exactly what is of value and what is not of value. Because for me, value and time is the same. We make time for the things that we love. We make time for the things that we value.
Yes.
We make time for the things that we believe are of importance. And we make time for things that would give us satisfaction
Yes.
and also give us fulfillment. So that's how I use my time.
That's good. That is very good. In this time of social distancing, just to kind of switch gears a little bit, in this time of social distancing, how can people guard against becoming isolated? You know, because there are a lot of people now dealing with isolation, which has led to depression, which has led to a lot of emotional disorders in their lives. So how does one, in the midst of this social distancing, not become isolated, and how does one not feel alone during these times when they can't, contact family members, be in close quarters with people, and everything's about staying away and staying apart? How do we deal with that now?
I think we should understand that the social distancing is a term that was coined not too long ago to actually give expression to this present pandemic. And I'll tell you something that is very interesting. Today, everybody uses the word social distancing, both conservatives, liberals, and those in between. But before this happened, the word social doesn't have clear respect within our cultures, especially conservative cultures like ours. Now, I did social justice. I'm a social justice scientist or social scientist. And let me say this to you. As a social justice educator, when you talk about social justice, people in politics, some group hate the word social justice.
Yes.
Because when you talk about social justice, the word justice, that is what our laws represent. The word social is what presently our day represent.
Yes.
So they are all as important, but we put twist on them and we allow words to give us certain meanings based on our viewpoint. Now we are using the word social distancing. The social distancing means that we should do our very best that our social interaction is not compromised by us being so close to each other and transferring this virus. So we should maintain social distance. But at the same time, those who are not sociable in the first place, those who don't connect that easily, and those who find it very hard to make relationships or to bond or to make friendship or to get close to those who are important to them, this can take them the opposite direction. If you stay away, remember in life, if you do anything for 27 days, it becomes a lifestyle.
Wow.
So what has happened is that after this isolation, or after, and some use the word isolation actually,
Yes.
the social distancing, it's going to become a habit. And when it's all done, there are those who will stay in the cocoon and never come out. Now, whilst we are being advised to maintain social distancing, that does not mean we should do emotional distancing. Social distancing does not mean emotional distancing.
Good. That's good.
We have to maintain our emotional connections
Yes.
because we are emotional beings. And when you don't feed that emotional side of you, you will stay in a perpetual state of sadness, loneliness, and actually, I, me, and myself world.
Yes.
The social distancing doesn't mean we should not actually get closer to the people who are closest to us. Do you know what is killing some parents? It kills them, especially those first responders. They want to hug their children.
Wow. Yes. Yes.
The social distancing is for their job. But when they come among their family and loved ones, they want that emotional connection.
Yes.
Because if a child is born for 3-4 days and the parent or nobody bonds with the child, there's no emotional connection, but emotional distancing, then the child will be traumatized through life.
Yes.
So the emotional aspect should not be forgotten or be pushed aside.
Yes, sir.
In fact, the Bible also tells us in Hebrews chapter 10, I believe, verse 25, it says, do not neglect the assembling of yourselves together, as the manner of some is, as we see the evil days approaching.
Yes.
Now, we are in a crisis. It is mandated by law for the fear that the spread would affect entire populace and destroy entire communities. We should maintain social distancing. Companies today have literally asked their employees to work from home.
Yes.
I mean, they have shifted responsibility from the office to the home. Now, companies are doing this for the first time they've not done to maintain social distancing. But it doesn't mean they are maintaining economic distancing, productivity distancing. So we have to be able to understand that this social distancing should not affect our emotional connections.
Yes.
We should maintain closeness with the people that are dearest to us, our parents, our loved ones, our husbands, wives, partners, whatever,
Yes.
Relatives, and also institutions that are dearest to our hearts, church members.
Yes.
We should make sure that the relationship is there. Because we don't know who is carrying the virus and who is not, the social distancing is what we practice. But we should consider this practice not a forever practice, but a temporal one. But make sure that we don't miss out on emotional distancing, because we cannot emotionally disconnect.
Yes.
We cannot spiritually disconnect.
Yes.
We cannot fellowship disconnect.
That's good.
We have to maintain our connection so that at least if the person doesn't see you physically to give you a hug, or from a distance they give you elbow bump, they can hear your voice. You can FaceTime them and make sure that they feel that emotional connection.
Yes.
We all need it.
Yes.
I don't care who you are. We all need it. No matter how many people surround you, when those who surround you are not there, you will feel the need of that touch.
Yes.
So we should always remember that the human side of us feeds on emotional connection or bonding.
That's good.
And we shouldn't take it for granted. Everybody needs it, whether you are a man or woman,
Yes.
whether you are saved or unsaved,
Yes.
rich or poor, gay or straight.
Yes.
It makes no difference.
Yes.
We all need that bond.
Yes,
So
sir.
we should make sure that we don't hide behind the social distancing to disconnect, so that emotionally we lose touch with people as dearest to us.
That's good.
We should make sure that we stay interconnected, because life is such that we need one another.
That's good. Yes, sir. Great. Well, let's talk for a moment about another subject. I mean, you brought it up, spiritual. I mean, do you think that life after the pandemic for the church is going to be different in terms of people coming back together? Do you think that people are going to be kind of hesitant to come back into the house of God to worship together? Do you think that virtual church is going to become more of a norm for others, or do you think that people are going to kind of come back and get back into the building and begin to worship together and so forth and so on? So what do you see? How do you see church after COVID-19?
I will first say I commend every pastor all over the world, and every rabbi, and every every um, leader in the Islamic world, which is the imam, who is looking for this to pass so that their congregations will come together, to congregate in the same place. I do believe that, and this is from me personally, that when this thing subsides, people will come out for the first 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks to experience or come back for another experience. The church will come together, the mosque will come together, and the synagogues will come together. But it's still going to take a different turn. Because what this thing has done is that this thing has forced us to look at things we have never looked before. Through this, a new market has been birthed. Through this, new platforms have been set.
Yes.
Through this, those who do business no longer do the business by the old book. They are creating new books so that they'll place their business on. So if things is to reverse, to go back to normal, there are those who will still live with this new change because we are looking at things from different angles. Now, people will not respond to things that quick, but there are certain industries that will also be birthed out of this. There are certain innovations that will come out of this. The virtual platform is here to stay.
Yes.
I don't think it will ever go anywhere. The virtual platform is here to stay. Now, we can also understand that everything in life has a season, and everything has a lifespan,
Yes.
lifetime. Generations come and generations go. Ideology comes at certain generations or come at certain seasons, and when it is done, a new one comes in. So things are going to change. They will not be the same. But what I foresee, the spiritual side, is that the virtual congregation church will be, it's not going to go anywhere. And as before this happened, religion, faith has taken a big hit.
Yes.
The millennials are not responding to the things of God as those who are 50, 40, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 going do.
Yes.
Those who are 40 plus, the approach and understanding of spiritual things is totally different. Remember that not too long ago, people started looking at other versions of the Bible. No longer King James Version. The young people don't feel comfortable with King James Version. Even though they speak the English, the Bible is written in English. But when they read the Bible in the English language and the language that expresses a thought of the Bible, they seem not to understand. So they have to break the ranks of reading the King James Version into reading New King James Version, New International, and other translations because it makes sense to them.
Yes.
But old-timers like me, or maybe you, we like the King James, down and seeth, and the New King James. But again, things have changed.
Yes.
You can't force them to go back. And by the way, I want you to know the reason why Christian bookstores are no longer in business. Christian publishing companies, most of them are going out of business.
Yes.
People are no longer reading big books. They are doing Kindle. They're reading online.
Yes.
Now, who thought this would be important 10 years ago, 20 years ago? We used to have more DVDs, more CDs. These days, it's out of business.
Yes.
I remember when people go and rent movies. Today, those movies are done.
Yes.
Netflix are taken over. And something is going to emerge that will force Netflix to another level.
Wow.
The same way church is changing. We used to have churches where we spent millions and millions of dollars to build churches. But today the question is, are we going to build churches of $20, $50 million and only use it for 2 days?
Wow.
Sundays and Wednesdays. What use is that? So everything is migrating. The world will not be the same. Church will not be the same. In the past, visiting preachers were everywhere.
Yes.
Artists were everywhere. We have conferences where 50, 60,000 people feel it's going to change.
Yes.
Today, they are doing them in clusters. So if things are to return to normal, it will take a minute. Secondly, if things are to come back to normal because of the impact the pastors or the churches, the mosque, and the synagogues have to help its members to rebuild.
Yes.
And the greatest challenge that we're going to face will be dealing with people who have been through the storm, whose confidence has been shattered, who needs spiritual, emotional, and mental assistance,
Yes.
who need financial and business regrouping.
Yes.
People have to be actually reoriented and make sure that at least they overcome some of these challenges that they've had, which have shut and minimized their own confidence.
Wow.
Education is going to have a different tone, completely. Now people are graduating for the first time in history. They're graduating virtually, not together.
Yes.
It is going to have an impact. So are things to reverse to normal, we have to understand things that will be normal, I think, will be the traveling. Once it's restored, people will be tired of being home. They would like to go all over the world.
Yes.
Secondly, the hospitality industry will pick up and actually do wonders. But they have to come down and help build the platform and also make sure that they build the sales. But to speak for the church and speak about the church, I would say that the church, as we know, will be a little different.
Yes.
Congregations are going to be online. Conferences are going to be online. Teachings are going to be online. That is why those who are, everybody now, you are speaking to your congregation online.
Yes.
They will come back to the church. But the elderly, most of them, because they're now used to being at home, would like to stay home. And if it is returned to normal, remember, people are now practically, like me, for example, we've not been to the barber. We've not had a haircut. We've not had beard trimmed.
Yes.
So guess what? People will come roughy. Things are not going to be normal as we know it.
Yes, sir.
But the joy of coming together will be so strong. It will be so strong. But things have to change a little bit. And we have to adjust. And everyone have to make plans that things will never be the same.
Yes.
If we think things are going to reverse to the same as it were, as it was, then we're going to be disappointed.
Yes, sir.
We should be ready to go with the change.
That's good.
Another point I want to make is when change comes, you have to adapt. If you are not flexible and you're not willing to adapt, change would cheat you. But if you are willing to adapt and you learn the principle of change and you realize that it's just a matter of time, you'll be able to do better.
That's good.
So we have to find ways, that means to reinvent ourselves and find a better way of helping our members, find a better way of sustaining and preserving the strength of our congregations, making sure that people are, checked upon, make sure that people are healthy,
Yes.
make sure that there's no abuses at home, because there's, besides depression and all of these, abuse has increased.
Yes.
Emotional abuse, physical abuse, verbal abuse, even sexual abuse have increased. But I would say mostly the emotional, mental, and physical has increased. So let's make sure that that is handled properly.
That's good.
One thing I have done is that my children are adults. They are grown, but we invite them home. And but our advice to them, because we are older people, make sure that you watch your surroundings. Don't spend too much time outside, and always be alert.
Yes.
Make sure that you protect yourself with your mask. Make sure you keep on washing your hands.
Yes.
As much as they know, and they do. As long as we are parents, we forever remind them.
Yes.
Because they are more concerned about us. And we also have to show concern for them.
Yes.
So when we invite them to our home, they come, we spend the weekends together, we eat together, we laugh together, and we make sure that the arrears of our hugs we give to each other.
Yes.
Because we are a hugging family.
Yes.
We love hugging, we like kissing each other, we like just letting each other feel our warmth and our
Yes.
presence.
Yes.
And this is something that has helped me, and my family. So I look forward to seeing them. I look forward in hearing what their day has been like
Yes.
or their weeks have been like. And I get a chance, privilege, to see my children more than 2-3 times a week,
That's awesome.
which is very, very good. But what about you? How do you manage uh, uh, um, this social isolation? How do you manage?
That's a good question. Well, same as you. Family to me is a very big part of who I am. And I have smaller children, younger children. Of course, I have two young children, 7 and 9. And so with them, they demand a lot of your time and attention. And so having to play games and, they're very creative, They come up with a lot of different stuff they want us to do. And so, we played bingo a couple nights. And, we just like to, and my daughters, they like to just kind of do silly little things to keep us laughing. But, for us, family time is very important because I believe more than ever we need to be able to lean on the strength of our family members because people are so disillusioned by everything that's happening. Like you said, things have changed so drastically that stuff that we've always depended on, things that we've always looked to, are no longer there. And so finding that support from family, from close friends and loved ones is very important. So for me, my wife, we just try to do fun things with our kids and, try to keep them engaged too because, young people now, children, their world has totally changed. They can't be out with their friends. They're not in school. My daughters are in gymnastics, so, they're doing virtual stuff at the house. I mean, it's amazing. You watch on the screen, they're doing all of the exercises and stuff like that, but they can't go and compete. They can't be with each other. So, we just try to, encourage them and make sure that their mental state is healthy and, ask them questions so that, because, kids have, some people may not believe this, but kids have different emotional things that they deal with. And so we have to, as parents, be there for them to make sure that we're answering questions and helping them to understand how to navigate through the time that we're in right now. Yeah.
That's amazing. The interesting part is my girls are, they are women.
Yes.
Okay, but I always take delight to see them. And what is more difficult for me is that when they tell me they're going home, I tell them, Daddy, it's too late. We had to go home. I said, no, can't you stay, spend the night? They said, no, we got to go home. Yeah. And my oldest would say to me, well, I have to go take my dog out. I would take my dog out, And the fact is, she would love to stay overnight. But the only thing is, I don't want a dog in the house. I tell her, I really, really want you to come back and live with us. We have this big home to ourselves. Yes. Come back with us. Well, she said, well, I will come as long as my dog is welcome. And I said, no, you welcome. The dog is not. Yeah. But it's fun to have them. When we eating together and but I've learned a lot.
Yes.
Not with this time. In this time, I've learned a lot, and I'm learning a lot about myself. Wow. And what I love to do. I'm into chores. I like to clean the house. Wow. I like to wash dishes. I like to take the trash out. I like to help redecorate the home. Yes. I like to move boxes. I like to create spaces for things where they ought to be. It is fun. These are things that I've longed to do for so long, didn't know I have the chance to do it. Yes. Now, and the funny thing is, I get upset when my wife washes the dishes. Wow. When she wants to put it in the washing machine, I said, no, I'll do it. And she says, no, I have to do it this way. Wow. And I didn't know that all of these things, even though, I love to do it. I just don't want to sit idle to see her do the cooking and all of that. I've learned some few recipes. Oh, that's awesome. And I like to cook for the family, and to see them enjoy the food that I'm preparing.
What's your favorite meal to cook or to prepare? Do you have a favorite dish or meal that you enjoy preparing?
I don't do too many things, but the ones I do, I'm a specialty of, I cook special Spanish rice. And my rice, people call and come to taste it. It is that good. I know how to do special rice. I know how to do special stew. I mean, a special African stew. I know how to do some soups, and I love to do those. And also, I don't do too many variety,
Yes.
just few.
Yes.
But what I do, just to have the thumbs up
Yeah.
from Lady Martha and the girls means a lot to me,
That's
and
awesome.
they genuinely love when I do it. When I started, years back, they would laugh at me, but the fact that I have mastered my art, and now I begin to keep recipe and try to do this, they will laugh. They say they can't believe. We can't believe the king himself is in the kitchen.
Yes.
But I don't see it that way. I don't see myself as a king in the kitchen.
Yes.
I see myself as a member of the family, one who loves to make sure that the family gets together.
That's good.
That is the family I came out of. I came from a large family. We like spending time together. So for me, seeing them with their best of friends, at home eating together, and and enjoying ourselves and laughing, and watching them play games, it's just fun for me.
Yes, sir.
So this is amazing. When you come to visit, I will fix you my special meal.
You would have to. I would be honored to have that special meal to eat.
Just let me know when,
Okay.
and I'll prepare.
I will definitely.
And
do it.
as soon as you can come, I will surprise you, and you will be amazed by the way I cook. And I'm a clean freak, as you know. I like to clean.
Yes.
I like order. I like to make sure that the house is the way it's supposed to be. And I love not to put the burden on one, but make sure that I take the responsibility in such work. I like washing even the bathrooms, cleaning it up, and making sure that things. I just love it. It's something I've learned. So this pandemic has actually brought another side of me that makes me look forward to being home and doing what I can do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because typically you're traveling all the time. You're in and out of the country and moving about. So that's good, having this time to be home, to clean. And, I pray, I want you to, at some point, I'm going to have you to pray for me that spirit jumps on me, because the other day, of course, Mother's Day was just what was that, this past
Sunday.
week? Sunday. And my wife, for her, I actually cleaned up. I cleaned up the house. I did a lot of different things around the house, and she was so amazed.
Yeah.
Now, I can clean very well, and when I clean up well, but I just don't do it often. My favorite thing to do is to vacuum. I love to see the lines in the floor.
Yeah.
So when I vacuum, I love vacuum. And washing dishes. I don't have a problem washing dishes. But she said to me, it would be nice if I could get you to kind of clean up like this on a more regular basis. So I think that's something that I'm going to implement.
Yeah. I think that'd be good. Then I'll pray for you to get that anointing.
Yes, I need that
My
anointing.
problem is they said I'm too clean.
Oh, wow.
They said, they'll tell you, they said, I'm too clean. And they said, why do you pick behind us? And I said, well, you're already clean anyway. I just like order.
Yes.
And I don't like to see too many clothes or T-shirts in one place. And I don't want that. I don't like to see things on the chairs. I'm very particular.
Yes, sir.
I'm quite particular. And I want to make sure that I keep a very clean house. And Lady Martha, as you know, she's an amazing interior designer, decorator.
Yes.
I enjoy my home. I love my home. And she changes the home anytime the spirit hits her. And when she changes it, I've learned to go with her change.
Yes.
And she does it so well. I've learned over the years, after 38 years, I've learned never to question her wisdom in terms of selection and how she wants the house or the home to be. I bought her a house and she made it a home.
Yes.
So just helping around the home is the most amazing thing for me. Just amazing. I'm very pleased. I'm quite pleased that I have that grace and that spirit to do what I'm doing. I love it. I love it. And right now, I pray that you get the same grace.
I receive. I receive that, and my wife will most definitely appreciate it.
Yeah.
But no, my wife is just a great domestic, person around the house. She keeps the house clean, and she's amazing with the children. Keeping order in the house, and I said, man, I sit back and watch her, as she juggles the kids, homework, cooking, cleaning, and doing all of that. It's just amazing to me. But so family to you is, I know we have just a few more minutes remaining, but let's talk about, as we get ready to close out, talk about the importance of family and what that means when you look at so many people in our society with dysfunctional families. You talked about it earlier. There's a lot of abuse going on, with this social distancing. There's been a rise in domestic violence, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, all of these things that are happening. There's so much dysfunction in the family. If there's a person watching us today who's dealing with a dysfunctional family life, and they're trying to figure out, how to make their family life better, I mean, what would you say to that person?
One, I would say they should pray. And two, they should find someone that they can confide in, who is not a repeater, or one who will use what they say against any of them, but will come in with the spirit of grace to help them solve it and walk them through.
That's good.
Now, I would say that, you see, there are so many people who were crying that, oh, my wife is always going to work, or my husband is always going to work. When the husband stayed in the home or the wife stayed in the home more than 2-3 weeks, they've had enough of it, and it turns into a fight. So the human mind and the personality is such that at times you cannot even understand. It's like when you do wrong, if you don't, you're wrong. So you ask the question, listen, didn't you know this before you went into this relationship? The fact that you said we want time for our families, I just need my family together, I want my husband, I want this. If there's a problem, that means this problem has been there for so long, but you all avoided it by burying yourself in your professions. But now that you have chance to build, interact, and strengthen your relationship and build a strong home, it now tends to be chaos. That means something was wrong from the very beginning. If it wasn't at the beginning, then it could be things that were happening, but they did not focus or take time to resolve it.
Yes.
And now that they are in close proximity, they see each other and in each other's throat, and they do all this fight. I do think they should have a serious conversation first. Sit down and say, listen, we have a problem here, and we got to talk. But do it respectfully, do it sensitively, and make sure that you do it away from the children.
That's good.
And if you have to solve your problems, do it in such the way that you will not come in as accusations, accusatory. If you do it that way, it will turn things against you.
That's good.
Don't go in to accuse.
Yes.
Go in to say that, listen, we have a problem. And take equal share in resolving it, because it takes two to tangle.
Yes.
So you don't go to say, you. If you keep saying you, it's going to create more problems.
That's good.
But you say that, listen, we have a situation here which is causing conflict. And I think we should solve this before it spreads and affect the whole household. We don't have to yell at each other. We don't have to be impatient. We should learn to talk as adults and learn to solve our internal conflicts. Then solve our relationship, conflicts within our relationship. But do it respectfully, sensitively, and do it with intention to win the person over.
That's good.
But if the situation escalates, then find someone you can trust and say, this and this is what we are going through. I need you to give us help. And I want you to come and help us without necessarily taking sides.
That's good.
I plead for you to be neutral so that what you say can benefit us both. But at times when there's conflict and you bring someone in, they only hear one side of the story. So they will use the one side of the story to accuse the other.
Yeah.
But let them know that, thank you for telling me this. And as you want me to help you, do you understand that I'm going to be neutral? And I'll tell you exactly what needs to be said, but do it graciously with a hope that we can heal your relationship and bring a good, lasting solution to your conflict.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your wisdom, and thank you for your time.
It is a joy, and I want us to do this often.
Yes.
Because I think, people are looking for real people.
Yes.
People want to hear things, not speaking over people's heads
Yes, sir.
and be super spiritual, but just talk frankly.
Yes, sir.
I mean, as men, we struggle
Yes.
as anyone else. But what keeps us going is the grace of God, the mercy of God, the love of God,
Yes.
and also the faith.
Glory.
And that's how it is. One thing I'll tell you is this: I never trust anyone who's never been through problems. Anyone that has never been through problems, if you follow them or you listen to them, the moment they are in trouble, or the moment you are in trouble, they will disown you.
Wow.
The Bible
I'm in trouble.
they will disown you. That's what the Bible says, that follow the life and example of those who through faith and patience have inherited a reward.
Yes.
If people have never been tested, never been through the fire, they can't help you to manage smoke.
That's good. That's good. Yes, sir. Wow.
Anyone who does not know how to swim, who's not been through swimming, will not know how to help you when you are drowning.
Yes, sir.
So I take that people who have made so much mistakes are the better examples. It is not perfection that teaches you. It is the experience you gain through try and error. It's the experience you gain through your failures.
Yes, sir.
It's the experience you gain through the things you've learned that can pass on to others.
Yes.
So experience and wisdom is not manufactured in a store in China or in a factory in New York. It comes through School of Hard Knocks. So I always want to be very real with people.
Yes.
I want people not to see me for my position, because don't equate position as wisdom. Position is position.
Yes.
Wisdom and experience is what makes a person develop character.
Wow. That's good.
So my last piece would be, let's be real. Let's try, as much as we do this, to let at least people also benefit from us and realize that they can identify with us. We are where they are where we are.
Yes.
We are not better than them. We just have learned through some few things we've been through.
Yes, sir.
And the best persons we can invest in is to give it back to them. And I think if we can do this on a regular basis, as we're sharing like this, then I believe we can help somebody.
Yes.
And that's what it's all about.
This is good.
I want to thank you also very much for joining us and listening to Pastor Kirkpatrick and myself. I love this kind of interaction, and I hope this has ministered to you. Wherever you are, I just want you to know, if you are in Greensboro region or that region, go to Abundant Life Church International. I mean, that's a church where you will be blessed immensely. If you are within this area, the RTP region, we invite you to Life International, where the nations gather. And we believe that you would also grow immensely. We love you and we appreciate your time. Be blessed and know that you will make it no matter what COVID-19 throws at you. God bless you. Thank you very much for watching. And on behalf of Life International, we wish you God's very best. It is our hope, our prayer, and desire to inspire you regularly and make sure that you succeed in every area of your life. We would like to give you an opportunity to contribute to Life International so that our broadcast can reach many more around the world. Continue watching, share us, and mention us to all of your friends. Thank you so much, and God bless you.